We don't have a quorum yet, and so Council Lady Murphy is going to come and start singing for you. I can activate your microphone. But you asked me before you wanted to start singing like Guatemalan folklore songs. All right, we'll wait. We do? Okay. Mr. Jameson tells me we have a quorum now. So we are going to start a meeting. And I apologize in advance that we didn't get to hear Councilor Lady Murphy's Guatemalan songs. We'll do that next time. All right. If the committee doesn't mind, I'd like to start with the last item, which is 1442, BL 2018-1442. Does anybody have any problem with it? All right, so we'll start with that one. It's not on the consent agenda. I'm going to start reading it. BL 2018-1442, as amended by Bircher, O'Connell, and Bedne. It was approved by the Planning Commission. It approves the acquisition of a parcel of property for 4 parties and approves a participation agreement, a license agreement, and an easement agreement between Metro Government and Uptown Property Holdings, LLC, in connection with the development of the Nashville Yards project in downtown Nashville, as amended. And Council... Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Actually, I think we have an amendment.
You have the floor, Councilman McGlower.
So, Mr. Jameson, don't we have some amendments on this one, please, sir?
We do. I don't know that I see the sponsors of the amendments, but anyone can also...
Well, I've got one of the amendments, I believe.
You do. I'm sorry. On number
Okay.
B.
Sorry, your mic is on.
We do. We have Amendment B. We do not have the sponsors for Amendment A or C or a late file amendment.
Okay, then I'm gonna move my amendment, please.
All right. So we have a motion to move your amendment. You want to talk about it?
Basically, what it simply states is, and I think, Mr. Jameson, correct me if I'm wrong, if I oversimplify the way I define it. If we're going to do this, if we're going to lay this kind of money out, then I think we have the money in order to do the cost of living adjustments as well. I'm not going to let this go. I'm going to keep pushing the issue because I think it's critical. You know, we have some cracks in the armor. We're not doing things. Our employees, we're not fully staffed in a lot of different areas. So, Mr. Jameson, did I summarize it decently, or what did I miss?
No, that's this would essentially reinstate or require essentially the reinstatement of COLA payments, the payment plan provisions that were overruled pursuant to the previous pay plan resolutions that the council adopted this past summer as part of the budget.
Okay, and so, Chair, if you'll indulge me for about 30 more seconds, I would love to vote for this. I think it could be good for the city as a whole as far as income, as far as how it overall works. What I don't think is good is that we keep spending money on things that don't take care of the essentials. So when we do this, whether it's budget or finance, or it's planning, or it's whatever it happens to be, you know, we had a good discussion yesterday, a long discussion yesterday in budget and finance. I'm bringing it back up again today because I've never not voted for a business deal, I don't believe, in Nashville that was a business deal that I thought financially made sense. The challenge that I have on this, and the reason, if this amendment doesn't pass, the reason I will not vote for this bill is because we're not taking care of the basics. And when we don't do the basics, then we fail everything else we do in the city. So I would ask everyone's support on the amendment, and I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else interested in talking about his amendment? All right, so you made a motion. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. All in favor of Councilmember Glover's amendment, say aye. Aye. I think I'm going to ask you to raise your hands. If you're in favor, raise your hand.
One.
Sure. If you are in opposition, raise your hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 4, 6 against.
Thank you, Councilman. What do we do with the other amendments?
Either amendment could be offered by any member of the council if they wish. We had Amendment A, which Councilor Gilmore withdrew at the Budget and Finance Committee, and Amendment C offered by Councilor Henderson, which essentially deducts various line items attributable to streets and sidewalks and other provisions.
Anybody in the committee interested in moving any of those? Okay, Councilmember Glover made a motion to move C. Is there a second? There is a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of the amendment C, raise your hand.
2, 4. Okay.
All those opposed, raise your hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fails 2 to 6.
It fails. Thank you. So now I need a motion with the legislation as amended. Who wants to make a motion? There's a motion and a second. Councilor Lady Allen, yes.
Thank you. Just so we can have a similar discussion to what we had yesterday, I would like to move the late filed amendment, well, so we can pick up on the discussion we had yesterday, late filed amendment H, which deals with the minority business participation. There was an amendment in budget to be, and we discussed it and came up with this one. So can I move that in this committee before we vote on the bill as amended?
Oh, yeah. You want to do it?
So I would like to make that late filed amendment H. I think that's what it,
Well, we have a motion. Is there you want to describe it a little bit?
after, if I get
Okay.
seconded.
So we have a motion. Is there a second? There's a
Thank you.
motion
Thank
and
you
a
for that
second.
Okay, so yesterday, there was an amendment that would have called for this project to participate in the new DBE participation process that's being put in place, but it's not ready to go yet. The representatives had spoken and said, they had sent us a letter that explains that they are committed to allocating the amount that they're being reimbursed at 15.25 towards payments to minority and disadvantaged businesses. And so this amendment would make that be part of the participation agreement. And Mr. Jamison, if you need to say anything else to clarify that, chime in.
It's so brief that I might just read it verbatim.
Okay.
I know it's in your packet.
That'd be great.
This has 2 sections. It would add a new subsection H applicable to Nashville Yards, which
there's
would
the
now
H.
state, Nashville Yards is committed to including and promoting small, minority-owned, women-owned, and local business enterprises as a part of this project, and ensuring that firms seeking to participate in construction contracts with Nashville Yards are not prevented from doing so on the basis of race or gender of their owners. To that end, Nashville Yards agrees to subsequently provide a summary of its disadvantaged business enterprise efforts. These efforts shall be considered voluntary and non-binding and should not be deemed a condition to the execution of this agreement. To that, I would simply remind the council members that under state law, we cannot mandate that private contractors comply with our Equal Business Opportunity Program. That can only be mandated in contracts between Metro and the vendors that Metro contracts with. So you'll see the second section of that late filed amendment, which adds a new section I, says, to the extent any private firm is engaged by Metro through a separate agreement to provide construction, professional services, goods, or other services in furtherance of this participation agreement, the requirements of Chapter 4.4.6 of the Metro Code, which is the Equal Business Opportunity Program, shall apply to such firms.
Thank you for that clarification. And is there anyone from Nashville Yards that wants to add anything? Okay, we just a head shake that this was something we talked about at Budget Committee meeting yesterday, and my understanding is that the owners were comfortable with this language, and it met the legal requirements of not having us try to force something. So with that, I would ask for support for this amendment.
Councilmember Glover.
Thank you, Chair. So, Mr. Jamison, I want to make sure I understand what I'm voting on here. There is no authority. In other words, this would purely be voluntary. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. So if they don't do this, then there's no repercussions that the government nor the private contractors would have come back up on them for this.
That's correct. It
Okay.
cannot be a condition of the participation agreement execution.
All right, because I want to make sure I'm on the record on why I'm not going to support this either. If we can't support paying our employees, I can't support this because it certainly goes across the spectrum of everybody in the city. Thank you.
All right. So we have a motion by Council Lady Berkeley Allen, and I think we have a second. And we had a discussion. So all in favor, raise your hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 4.
Opposed, raise your hand.
1. Okay. Late file amendments adopted.
All right. Now, yes, we can go to the legislation as amended. Who wants to make the motion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? No. Okay. Anybody else besides Councilmember Glover opposing it? Okay. Thank you, Councilmember. I'll have you recorded. Very well. It passes. Thank you very much for the participation. Now we're going to start reading the consent agenda, which is, I know, the best part of the meeting for you all, and I'm going to try to do my best to do it in a musical, no? Okay. All right. RS 2019-157 by Mendez, Burchett, and others, it declares surplus certain property to the housing fund for the Nashville Community Land Trust, and we have a letter to approve, and Councilmember Mendez is here. RS 2019-1572 by Roden, Syracuse, Burchett, and others, it approves an option agreement between Metro Government and Charlie R. Smith and Marlene J. Smith and authorizes the purchase of properties owned by the Smiths. There is a letter to approve. RS 2019-1574 by Bircher, Bedney, and O'Connell. It authorizes the Director of Public Property to exercise an option agreement for the purchase of a flood-prone property located at 0 Rifle Range Road for Metro Water Services. There is a letter to approve. RS 2019-1575 by Bircher, Bedney, and O'Connell. It authorizes the Director of Public Property to exercise an option agreements for the purchase of various flood-prone properties for Metro Water Services, with a letter to approve. RS 2019-1595 by Bedney and O'Connell. It abandons an existing public utility easement rights for property located at the Mambrion Street and number and 1219 McGavock Street, formerly known as Alley 235. RS 2019-1596 by Bedney and O'Connell. It authorizes HydroLive Nashville LLC to construct and install aerial encroachments at 212 Broadway. BL 2019-1477 by Roden, Bircher, and others. It declares surplus and approves the disposition of property known as 3125 Ironwood Drive. BL 2019-1479 by Syracuse, Birchie, and others. It declares surplus and approves the disposition of a parcel of property known as 2795 Pennington Bend Road, with a letter to approve. BL 2019-1480 by Councilmember Van Rees, Bircher, and others. It authorized, yes, ma'am? Yes. All right, thank you. We are pulling 1480 and 1481. BL 2019-1482 by Bedney and O'Connell. It abandons an existing sanitary sewer main, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements, and to accept new sanitary sewer and water mains, sanitary sewer manholes, and fire hydrant assembly and easements for property located at 950 Brittany Park, Zero Bell Road, and Zero Bell Road, BL 2019-1483 by O'Connell and Bedney. It abandons an existing sanitary sewer main, stormwater main, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements, and to accept the new sanitary sewer and water mains, sanitary sewer manholes, and fire hydrant assembly and easements for property located at 151 First Avenue South and 150 Second Avenue South. BL 2019-1484 by Bedney and O'Connell. It abandons a portion of 53rd Avenue North right-of-way and easement. BL 2018-1425 by Councilmember Murphy.
35.
Huh?
No, sorry, you're right, Go ahead.
25?
You're good, you're good.
Okay. It changes 1.03. Does it need to be pulled because there is a substitute? We're pulling this one out, sorry. BL 2018-1431 by Councilmember Swope, and he's not here, and we don't have a letter to approve.
The heel.
Let me see. Yeah, we're going to pull this one out too. That's the extent of the consent agenda. Wasn't that exciting? Yeah, no. So, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Glover.
Just very quickly, I think yesterday, Mr. Jameson, there was a no on this in Budget and Finance, was there not?
When you say on this, you mean?
On 1570, I'm sorry, my fault.
Let me just double check.
There was, wasn't
There
there?
was 11 to 1, correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor to approve the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. Oppose? All right, it passes. We're going to go through the items now, and shortly, I'm going to have to run to the Public Works meeting, so I'm going to ask Councilor Murphy to come to the front at 4:30. All right, first item.
Just a quick point of order, because I have education at 4:30. James, are we going to lose the quorum?
If it's just you, we will not lose the quorum.
How many, if I may ask, Chair, I'm sorry, but how many of us will have to leave to go to the next meeting?
Your mic is on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Chair. How many of us have to leave at 4:30 to go to the next committee? I do. So do we lose the quorum, Mr. Jameson? We do not. Okay.
Councilmember O'Connell has to leave too.
We're still good.
You're still good. Okay. All right. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for checking, Councilmember. All right. First item that is not on consent is BL 2019-1476 by Councilmember Hastings, Bircher, Glover, and me. It declares surplus and approves the disposition of a parcel of property known as Zero Brick Church Pike. Who wants to? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilor Lady Berkeley Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We just heard from a number of constituents that this seemed, if I'm remembering this correctly, this seemed like a piece of property that, number one, would be very hard to build on, and number two, was adjacent to parkland, and that it would perhaps be more appropriate to be signed off on by Parks. And so I had asked someone from Parks to come and talk about if that's a possibility.
Is anybody from Parks here? Yeah. Please come to the podium and share with us. Thank you. The mic is on. I thought the mic is on. Wrong. There.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
thank you.
Thank you. Monique Odom, Director of Metro Parks and Recreation. This item did move through the mandatory referral process, and it did come to the Parks Department. We did not make a recommendation. This piece of property is connected to a larger 50-acre piece of 50-acre piece of property. It's in an underserved area. So if this property were offered to the Parks Department, we would accept it.
Okay.
And just to follow up on what you mean by underserved, is that with regard to the Plan to Play master plan, this is an area that needs more open space?
This is an area that needs more open space. It's not inconsistent with the Plan to Play master plan.
Meaning ultimately to fulfill the master plan, we'll have to buy land
We will.
somewhere.
We will, to satisfy deficits, yes.
Okay. I mean, this is a tough one because I know we desperately want to fully fund our metro schools, and this is a way to do it by sale of one-time property, which is not an ideal way to do it. And then it has the double complication of being, I think, kind of difficult to build on, as well as being adjacent to parkland and being lovely and wooded. So I'm concerned about if this is a good move for us to make in the long term. I understand the short-term need, and I don't like to be a stumbling block to fixing budget issues, but I just have concerns about this, and I've heard from enough constituents that.
Thank you. We have a lot of people on the queue, so let's continue the conversation, but thank you for your comments. Councilmember Glover.
So, Mr. Jameson, I want to try to make sure I understand the process. If it's surplused, when it's surplused by a commission, a board, however, before it ever comes to the council, then it's my understanding every department gets a shot at that piece of property. Am I not remembering that correctly? What am I missing here?
So in this case, the school board first considers it, and they pass a resolution as to whether or not it's surplus property. Assuming that passes, it does go to the Director of Public Property, and he makes it available to other departments to request and make use of if they so need it. And if there is no request by another department, it proceeds to the council for declaration of surplus.
So when the school board surplused this piece of property, did the Parks Board and Commission department, did they get a shot at this?
They would have been allowed the same shot as every other department.
So why are we hearing right now in committee that they would take the piece of property? I'm kind of confused on why we're here on this.
I don't know.
Do you
I'm just asking the question because I'm confused.
Is that a rhetorical question, or you want to ask the mayor?
No,
something?
I'm asking because I'm literally, I don't understand why it's here, because they just said they want it, so.
Councilman, who do you want to ask the question?
I'm asking Mr. Jameson, and then if Chair, if you would, we'll ask the Parks Department to respond to that.
And I just don't know what the Parks Board determination was.
So then, Chair, if you're okay, I'd like to hear why
Yeah, it's a
we're
good
hearing
question.
it today.
Yeah.
What I did say is that it did come to the department through the mandatory referral process, and a recommendation was not made. As far as I know, and my understanding is that that was an oversight. I was asked to be here today. As I said, I understand the purpose of this property being surplus and do not want to serve as a stumbling block for any other department, but I am here to answer questions.
All right, Chair, I certainly understand that we have a dilemma with regards to funding. We have a number of dilemmas in the city with regards to funding. I'm going to move we defer this for one meeting to where we can get an understanding on where this is and what the unintended consequences might be until we are able to talk it all the way through. So I move for a one meeting deferral.
Would you mind? I have a lot of people on the queue.
Okay, that's fine. However you want to do it.
We'll come
But
back.
I've got to leave here in 3 minutes.
Yeah, let's. Councilmember Hager.
Directed at Director Odom. My biggest concern, Director Odom, is we keep adding on all these parks properties, what are we doing about hiring more people to maintain them? I know that we're stretched out right now.
You are absolutely 100% correct. I agree with you.
Okay,
And we are making requests to hire more people.
right. So that's one of my concerns. And then the other concern I would have, are they going to get a community center before I do and get mine redone?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
But I would suggest that we defer it one meeting myself.
Okay, let's go
we
through
can
all
look
the,
at
I appreciate it, Councilman. Yeah. Councilmember Hurd, can you, do you have anything to add to this? You were on the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just concerned about the money. Is the sale of this property for the school system, is it going to be enough money to handle all of the needed funds that the school needs?
I'm guessing that you will support the deferral to get answers to those questions, right?
I would.
Yeah, thank you. Councilmember Hastings,
Yes, sir,
how
Mr.
do you feel
Chair.
about deferral?
All right, well, just wanted to stand up and say that I am going to speak on behalf of the people that have called me from the community, and they are not speaking for this transaction to happen because there's other things that could be served in that green space and other areas within the community. I don't know how we're going to pay for it and get those things together. That's another budget issue. But I know this is school property. But again, the community, some of the members of the community, the ones that have contacted me, have not been in support of this.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, so do you want to file again your? Okay, so there is a motion and a second for the 1 meeting deferral. Any more discussion about it? No? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, and I'm going to abandon you now and leave you with a much better chair. Thank you, council member. The items that are not on consent has a note.
Okay, great.
Assume that
Got
was
you.
unanimous. Which one?
So we are starting,
I'm sorry.
Mike, where are we?
Sorry, we just finished 1476, we're on 1470. Council Lady Weiner?
So we are
Council Lady
on
Weiner?
resolution.
Council Lady Weiner?
Mike, which resolution?
1478.
We are on resolution 1478.
Weiner?
No, we're not. Where are we?
Okay.
1478, yes, I'm sorry. Weiner, Bedney, and others declare surplus property and approves the disposition of property known as 1015 Davidson Road. Do I have a quorum?
Hang on.
I'm going to assume I have a quorum. Do I have a motion? With a motion and a second, any discussion? Council Lady Weiner. Hold on, wait. I've got Council Lady Johnson and Councilman Councilman Sledge. Are y'all out? You want out of the queue? Okay, you want in. Okay. So Council Lady Johnson is first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is adjacent to my district, although property is actually located in Council Lady Weiner's location. And we used to be my constituent go to this elementary school. However, because of the new MNPS policy, they are going to 800 capacity school as far as elementary size goes. So this location we are told, it's not ideal for future elementary school location. However, at one point, it was discussed if and when Westmead Elementary School was to expand, that particular location will be a great possible location for early learning center or teacher housing or workforce housing, considering the convenient location to interstate and bus stop and so forth. So I just wanted to make sure there's, great good use for this property, and especially the appraisal amount was offered $3.29 million. I mean, we understand MNPS is a shortage of 13 million, and 3.29 million will help to achieve, shortage of 13 million. But I just feel this kind of fire sale is a little bit short-sighted, so we would like to take time to see if it's the great value of the appraisal, or can we get more enough to fill the gap? So that would be my concern. So as of right now, I am not comfortable supporting this as is at this condition. I just want to state on behalf of my constituent.
Thank you, Council Lady Johnson. Council Lady Weiner.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate it. So last night in Budget and Finance, I had to leave and was not able to share this information, and am appreciative of the opportunity to do that now. A couple of years ago, Council Lady Johnson and I went into Brookmead School. We actually took our life in our hands when we walked into the school because we wanted to see if there was an opportunity to repurpose the building for police and fire training. And at the time, they were using it part-time for that purpose. We were shocked at the awful condition. Ceiling tiles falling out of the ceiling, air conditioning and heat broken, the roof in such bad condition that water has gotten in and set up mold that forced us out of the building in very short order with a headache. You can see the black mold up and down the walls. You can smell it as soon as the door opens. In 2015, the cost to repair this building was about $13 million, and today my understanding from Metro Schools is that's north of $20 million now. It's not going to get any less expensive. The corner where the building sits is nestled between a busy commercial area and the residential apartments and single-family homes. The Charlotte-Davidson intersection is a mess, and it needs to be overhauled. The building is not fit for habitation of any form, and anyone comes in who will have a hefty expense right out of the gate, either knocking it down or rehabbing it. The appraisal was completed with this in mind, as well as the value of the location where it sits. We need to surplus the property and need to be mindful that in the subsequent rezoning process, we take the neighbor's quality of life into account. Rezoning first puts the cart before the horse and limits the options open to purchasers. Thank you.
Councilman Sledge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm bringing up what we talked about yesterday to ask Mr. Jameson if we figured out if it's Davidson Drive or Davidson Road.
It is Davidson Drive. That is correctly advertised for the bill that is online, and the map and parcel number have always been correct. At one point, a Word version did state Davidson Road. That has since been corrected, but otherwise reasonable notice has been given by virtue of all the other correct information. Even when the agenda had the wrong word road in the caption, when you clicked on the bill, it gave you the correct street name, and all throughout the map and parcel were always correct.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Sledge. I will, at the risk of being argumentative in the chair up here, I know that one of the councilwomen, the councilwoman who has this in her district mentioned that cart before the horse with rezoning. I will state that when we put the SP on the salt property in my district before surplusing and selling it, it actually went up in value. And so sometimes that can give some peace of mind to the neighbors and increase the value of the property that we're selling. Without further debate, I'll take the vote. I don't see anybody else in the queue. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Let's do a hand raise because I'm not sure who's on the committee. So if you're in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Where are you?
All opposed? 2. 2, 4, it passes. Okay, resolution, or Bill BL 2019-1480, Van Rees, Vercher, and others authorizes the acquisition of certain right-of-way easements, drainage easements, temporary construction easements, and property rights for the use of projects of the Department of Public Works for Madison Station Boulevard. This was pulled off consent by myself, although it has a letter of approval. The reason I pulled it is because in our summary, in our fiscal packet, it does not have a fiscal note. So I wanted to ask the administration if we have an idea of fiscal note and explanation. I think your table's not on. One moment. You have the administration table? Okay. I'll come back to you. Okay. I'm just asking for I'm having lots of people point at me, so Does the administrative table have it?
I'm sorry, in which, is this on Station Boulevard?
Yeah.
Someone here from Public Works can address,
Okay.
I believe, the fiscal, Mr. Smith.
Good evening. I'm Andrew Smith from Metro Public Works, and I'll be happy to answer your questions about Station Boulevard.
We don't have the fiscal note in our analysis and fiscal note, so I was just asking about the fiscal note. Do you have an estimate of the fiscal note?
I believe that this is worst case for all the right-of-way and permanent drainage easements are a little bit north of $300,000. We expect that some of these properties may be donated for this project. We expect we're going to be doing some construction concessions, but at worst case, it's a little bit north of $300,000 for right-of-way acquisition.
I'll go to the council lady. You're on.
Thank you. This is all built into a previous capital improvements budget of close to $6 million for this road. This is just a portion of it. Thank you.
Okay. I see nobody else in the queue. With that, we'll take the vote. All in favor? Any against? And are we all on the committee in here? 7, 8?
That's not.
Okay. BL 2019-1481 authorizes Metro government to acquire permanent easement rights for the Clean Water Nashville Central Wastewater Treatment Plant capacity improvements and CSO project for 8 properties located on 1st Avenue North, 2nd Avenue North, and 3rd Avenue North. I pulled this from consent because it also does not have a fiscal note. So I will ask the administration table if they have any information on a fiscal note.
I don't know if this is a water project, if there was somebody here.
I saw water earlier. I'm not seeing them now.
They may be in Public Works.
Okay. So, all right, thank you. My point in pulling these from consent without fiscal note is at some point, we are responsible for passing a budget. And if we are continuing to just pass pieces of legislation and not having a clue of how much they are for and what we're spending, that's irresponsible of this body to continue doing that. And so I will be coming up with some ideas. I would invite the rest of the council that's in other committees now to really work with me to request that we have accurate or somewhat of a fiscal note rather than just saying someone will come up with the money at some point, because it's too much at this time. So with that, all in favor? All against? 8-0, it passes. BL 2019-1482 by Bednay and O'Connell abandons and oh, that was on consent, sorry. Do I need to do this consent one that's deferred one meeting? Or on bills on third reading?
1413 is next.
Okay, BL 2018-1413 by Scott Davis changes 0.33 acres from RS5 to R6A zoning on the property located at 927 Douglas Avenue, approximately 285 feet east of Emmett Avenue.
A letter?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a letter?
There is no letter, so I will defer by rule. BL 2018-1425, I am the sponsor, changes 1.3 acres from R6 to SP zoning for properties located at 4603 Sloan Road and 4409 and 4411 West Lawn Drive to permit 6 multifamily residents. I will accept a motion so I can, I'll make a motion, thank you. I'd like to move an amendment. Substitute. Thank you. And I'd like to defer one meeting. As substituted. Oh, we need to vote on the substitute. I'm sorry, got ahead of myself. All in favor of the substitute? Great. Any opposition? Thank you. I'd like to move to defer one meeting. All in favor? Any against? Thank you. Both passed 8-0. BL 2018-1431 by Councilman Swope changes 13.4 acres from AR2A to SP zoning for properties located at 5960 Edmondson Pike and Edmondson Pike unnumbered to permit 38 single-family residential lots. I do not have a letter, and so I'm going to defer by rule. BL 2018-1435 by Councilman Hastings. Changes, could somebody get Councilman Hastings if he is still here? I do not have a letter. It changes 1.65 acres from SPR to RM40 zoning for various properties located on 9th Avenue North. We'll give him till I count to 10. And I'll roll it to the hill. BL 2018-1436 by Councillady Lee. She is not here. I'll roll that to the heel. BL 2018-1438 by Councilman Swope. He is not here. I will, do we know if he's here?
He's not here.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and defer this one by rule. BL 2018-1442 by Vircher O'Connor Bedney. I have a letter to approve, and there are proposed amendments. This approves an acquisition of a parcel of property from 4 parties. And no, wait, didn't we do this in the beginning? Yeah. Okay, he didn't write down the vote. My bad. So going back to BL 2018-1435 by Hastings, changes 1.65 acres from SPR to RM40 zoning for various properties located on 9th Avenue North. Do I have a motion? Any discussion? Yes, Councillady Johnson. Oops, one moment. Gotcha.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think this one is changing SPR to RM15. And the note says master permit was issued on June 2nd of 17, and site design will remain and consistent with SP as approved. So it seems like construction is going, and or the building will be going as planned. So I just don't understand why does it need to be changed to SP to RM15 other than adding some usage such as short-term rental. I would like to hear from either planning or sponsor the intent of the zone change.
I will allow the sponsor to answer if he so chooses.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Councilwoman. This property was already done by the prior council member before I was here. This property is actually shuttled off a little bit by itself. They are houses selling $500,000 a piece. They're smart homes, and this is a short-term rental issue that they are going into. They're looking to go into short-term rental properties for this parcel.
Okay, so with that, Councillady Johnson, I've turned you back on with the councilman from District 2 confirming the intent is to go to short-term rentals with this rezone.
I appreciate confirming it for that. If that's the reason, I will have to oppose this zone change because there's no reason to allow the short-term rental in spite of such outcry from the public. So I'd rather, since nothing has changed, the density will change. Not changing the zone change will not stop the construction. So I am opposed to this zone change.
Councilman Hastings?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to mention, again, this project was done way before I stepped foot here. The project is already done. It is a set-apart project all by itself. It's not connected to any other homes or in any area. That was the only reason that we looked. The short-term rental, we do have liberty as the council person of the district to actually, if there is a need for that, and I was one of the main supporters of the project to restrict short-term rentals. That was my deal. But overall, this property is set aside. It's by itself, and its direct neighbor is NES Tower power supply line, and that is the reason why that this short-term rental deal, what they had to do is go back and they brought documents. They went back to all of the homeowners and every person that was there. They did it legally. to make sure that everybody felt good about doing the short-term rental at the property. So there is a legal basis that was set up for them to be able to go forward. We made sure of that, and when they came to supply that, that was the reason that we said, okay, let's go ahead and get this done. All right, thank you.
Okay, with no one else in the queue, we're going to do hands just so I can count easier. All in favor? 4. All against? 3. All right. BL 2018-1436 by Council Lady Lee changes 14.4 acres from AR2A to SP zoning for properties located at 3939 and 3947 Pinhook Road to permit 43 single-family lots. We were previously on consent, and with the Council Lady here, I am happy to take a motion and call for the vote. Wait, Council Lady. Go for it.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like approval of 1436.
Council Lady Johnson, are you cleared out, or you still want, you're in? Okay, Council Lady Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I asked the Chair, Bettner, to pull this one of the consent because I just wanted to have one, couple of questions. So this, I was looking at a site plan. It stayed 20-foot landscape easement, but I think because it might be the preliminary SP and it does not indicate thickness or type of landscaping will be going into that 20-foot landscaping easement. So I just wanted to ask sponsor of the bill, she would make sure adequate landscaping will go in. Okay. And also this is, it appeared to be non-developed open land. So if you could, try best effort to keep mature tree within that 20-foot landscaping buffer because we are rapidly losing the tree. So if you can work with the development community to make sure, and I'm sure you already done, but I just wanted to make sure extra careful. And also this is a question to Mr. Jameson. On that site plan, it was a sensitive nature was stated, such as location of a sinkhole and so forth. And I'm sure engineering of the architect and engineer will do the great job. But just wanted to make sure, as a Metro Council, as a body, we are not responsible for that development if development failed. Regarding the sinkhole, relative to the sinkhole?
No, the determinations of the council through zoning mechanisms would not lend itself to liability, particularly for personal injury claims. The sovereign immunity provisions of what the council does legislatively protects us in the event there's a personal injury claim along those lines.
Thank you for the clarification.
Council Lady Lee.
And I just wanted to respond to that. We have had I know of about 3 meetings, community meetings on this area. And from the first one that I had, I think they had one before I came on board. From the ones that I have had, the developer has been very good at working with us and trying to get things in place that we were doing. So green space is one of the things that I'm always pushing, and landscaping and that type of thing. And so I have the most confidence that this will be done.
Thank you. With that, all in favor? Any against? Passes 8-0, and that concludes our meeting. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.org.